Hi students, myself Varun Das. Today I am going to discuss about solid state. Before that, let us try to understand what is universe made of. Yes, everything in this universe is made up of matter and energy. Energy is the capacity to do work. In classical physics and general chemistry, matter is any substance that have mass and takes up space by having volume. According to Einstein's mass energy equation, E is equal to mc square, mass and energy are interconvertible. If you are burning any substance or any matter, you are going to get energy, which clearly states matter as energy. Matter is everything around you. Matter is everything that you can touch, see, feel, or smell. Basically, there are three types of matter: solids, liquids, and gases. Plasma is considered as fourth state of matter. The molecules or atoms in solids are very close to each other. They are tightly packed in regular pattern. They have definite shape and volume. They vibrate but do not move from place to place. Let us study more about solids later in this chapter. Before that, let us also see what is liquid, gases, and plasma for a second. Molecules or atoms in liquids are close, but they are loosely packed with no regular arrangement. They vibrate, move about, or slide over each other. They do not have definite shape, but takes the shape of the vessel or container. Whereas gases, molecules or atoms are well separated with no regular arrangement. Particles vibrate randomly and move freely at high speed. Particles in plasma are electrically charged. It has no definite shape and volume. Solids are present in our daily life. In fact, most of the substances which we use daily are solids, then the liquids and gases. The properties of solids and their structure are of significant importance. So let us learn more about matter in solid state. We know that liquids and gases are called fluids because of their ability to flow. The fluidity in both of these states is due to the fact that the molecules are free to move about. On the other side, the constituent particles in solids have fixed positions and can only oscillate about their mean position. This explains the rigidity in solids. These properties depend upon the nature of constructing particles and binding forces approaching between them. Now let us see the characteristics of solid state. Solids have fixed mass, volume, and density. Intermolecular distances are short, which means the distance between two molecules of the same substance is called as intermolecular distance. If the constructing particles are atom, then we will call it as interatomic distance. That is the distance between two consecutive atoms in a element or a substance is called as interatomic distance. Or intermolecular or interatomic distance in a solid is short because the molecules or atom or any constructing particles of a solid are very close to each other. They are tightly bound to each other. Therefore, intermolecular distance are short. Solid state has more density than liquid and gaseous state of the same substance. If you are comparing the density of one substance for a different state, solid, liquid, and gases, then obviously the density of the substance in solid will be greater when compared to liquid and gases. This is because density is nothing but the ratio of mass and volume. Mass per unit volume is called as density. Obviously, the number of particles in solid per unit volume will be greater when compared to liquid and gases because the intermolecular distance in solid is less. Therefore, number of particles per unit volume will be more in case of solid. Therefore, the density of liquid and gaseous state of the same substance will be lesser when compared to solid state. Intermolecular force of attraction between the constituent particle is stronger in solids than the liquids and gases. This is also because intermolecular distance is small and the force of attraction will be greater. If the force of attraction is greater, then melting point will be higher. This is because melting point means melting point is the temperature at which solid turns to liquid. Solid will turns to liquid when the intermolecular distance increases. When the molecule floats or slide one over the other, then only solid turns to liquid. To this happen, intermolecular distance should be increased. If the stronger the intermolecular force of attraction, we require more energy to separate these molecules. Hence, it will be very difficult. So, we require higher temperature. Therefore, higher will be the melting points. If the intermolecular force of attraction is less, we require very less energy to separate the molecules. Hence, we require low energy. Therefore, melting point will be lower. So, in solids, all solids have a characteristic melting points. Solids having stronger intermolecular force of attraction will have stronger or higher melting points. Those which have weaker intermolecular force of attraction have lower melting points. Solids cannot be poured like liquids because of the stronger intermolecular force of attraction. We already studied that the molecules in solids are very close, are very tightly packed. It cannot move. It are fixed. So molecule cannot slide one over the another. Therefore, solids cannot be poured like liquids. Solids are hard, incompressible and rigid, except solid potassium and phosphorus. Based on the nature of order present in the arrangement of the constituent particles, solids are classified into crystalline solids and amorphous solids. Crystalline solids usually consist of a large number of small crystals, each of them having a definite characteristic geometrical shape which is repeated. In crystalline, the arrangement of constituent particles, that is atoms, molecules or ions, are ordered. The order is long range order. Regular pattern of arrangement of particles which repeats itself periodically. We can see here it is repeating periodically in each and every line. It is repeated over entire crystal. For example, sodium chloride and quartz. In case of crystalline solids, atoms vibrate in place in a fixed pattern. It will be vibrating in its position. It will not distract. Whereas in case of amorphous solids, amorphous, the meaning in Greek, it is a Greek word. The meaning of amorphous is no form. Amorphous solid consists of particles of irregular shape. The arrangement of constituent particles in such a solid has only short range order. In such arrangement, a regular periodically repeating pattern is observed over short distance. It is scattered and in between the arrangement is disordered. It softens over a range of temperature and can be molded or blown into shapes. Atoms vibrate in place in more random arrangement. Once again, let us recall the crystalline solids. The crystalline solids are the homogeneous solids where the constituent particles are arranged in a definite repeating pattern. Therefore, they have a characteristic melting point. Here the intermolecular force of attraction is maximum. So it is arranged in a pattern. It is long range order. It is repeated. The force of attraction may be ionic bond, covalent bond, hydrogen bond or van der Waals forces. Here again example is sodium chloride or magnesium oxide or quartz are some example for crystalline solids. In case of amorphous solids, the amorphous solids are the substance that appear like solids but the constituent particles are not arranged in a definite pattern. Therefore, they do not have a characteristic melting point. Their structure is similar to liquid. They behave like fluids and float very slowly under gravity. Hence, these are also called as pseudo-solids or supercooled liquids. For example, tar and glass. See, you can observe here the order is not repeating for a long range. There are many gaps in between so that the molecules can slide, but it is a solid it behaves like a solid, also it behaves like a liquid, so it is called as pseudo solid or it is also called as supercooled liquid. Example is tar, which is used in the construction of road. Anisotropic nature of crystalline solids. All crystals shows anisotropy. This means that certain physical properties like electrical resistance or refractive index are different for different direction. They are directional. It is due to the different arrangement of particles along different angles or different direction. If you observe a chessboard in or diagonally or the molecules in this diagram diagonally, you can find the similar color next to each other, adjacent to each other diagonally. Even in chessboard you can see white colors diagonally or black squares diagonally. But if you are observing horizontally or vertically, you can notice black squares and white squares are alternate to each other. Here red and blue colors are alternate to each other. So two different angles gives different properties. So this is called an isotropic property. If same types of ions are arranged in one layer and above layer or next to that, if different atoms is arranged, one layer metal ions or cations, anions, cations and anions, then you can notice vertically similar kind of ions. If you are observing vertically, you can notice a similar kind of ions, and if you are observing diagonally, you can notice different kind of ions. These properties is called as anisotropy. Similarly, the atoms or ions or molecules in crystal solids are arranged in definite order, so it is anisotropic in nature. Whereas in amorphous solids, there is no long range arrangement and arrangement is irregular along all directions. Therefore, the value of physical property in any direction will be same, hence amorphous solids are isotropic in nature. Let us see the differences between crystalline solids and amorphous solids. Crystalline solids, definite characteristic shape due to orderly arrangement of constituent particles. In case of amorphous, there will be irregular shape due to disordered arrangement of constituent particles. Crystalline solids are also called as true solids, whereas amorphous solids are called as pseudo-solids or supercooled liquids. Crystalline solids exhibit anisotropic property, or it may or may not be isotropic, whereas amorphous solids exhibits isotropic like liquids. In crystalline solid, definite heat of fusion depending upon the arrangement of particles. There is no definite heat of fusion in case of amorphous solid. There is sharp and definite melting point for a crystalline solid. In amorphous solids, they do not have sharp and definite melting point. They gradually soften over a range of temperature. If you are cutting the crystalline solid with a sharp edge, plain and smooth surface is obtained. If you are going to cut into two equal parts or two pieces, you are going to get plain and smooth surface in case of crystalline solid, whereas in case of amorphous, if you are going to cut with a sharp edge into two pieces, you are going to get irregular surface. Example for crystalline solid: sodium fluoride, sodium nitrate, potassium sulfate, magnesium oxide, etc. Whereas example for amorphous are glass, plastic, tar, rubber, butter, etc. Now let us see the classification of crystalline solids. On the basis of nature of intermolecular forces present in the crystalline solids, they are classified into four types: molecular solids, ionic solids, metallic solids, and covalent or network solids. Coming to molecular solids, these molecular solids are the solids in which the constituent are the molecules. It is not made up of the constituent materials or constructive materials is not atom or ions. The constituent materials, constructive materials, particles are molecules. The molecular solids are the solids in which the constituents are the molecules. The molecules are joined to each other by dispersion forces like London forces, dipole forces, or hydrogen bonds. There are three types of molecular solids. Yes, polar molecular solids, non-polar molecular solids, and hydrogen bonded molecular solids. Polar molecular solids, they compose of heterogeneous atoms. They formed by polar covalent bond like HCl and sulfur dioxide, solid hydrochloric acid and solid SO2. The molecules in these solids are held together by relatively strong dipole-dipole interaction. They are soft and bad conductor of electricity, have high melting point than non-polar molecules. Most of the polar molecular solids are liquids and gases at room temperature. Example, solid ammonia and sulfur dioxide. Solid hydrochloric acid. The solids containing molecules of substances formed by polar covalent bonds are polar molecular solids. Non-polar molecular solids. The solids containing atoms or the molecules formed by non-polar bonds are the non-polar molecular solids. For example, solid hydrogen, chlorine. The force of interaction present is dispersion force or London forces. They made up of homogeneous atoms or element. You can see hydrogen and hydrogen homogeneous. Heterogeneous in case of polar molecules, where hydrogen and chlorine, sulfur and oxygen, nitrogen and hydrogen for ammonia. Similarly, here homogeneous atoms combines to form a molecules. The solid containing atoms are homogeneous. They are formed with non-polar covalent bonds. Non-polar covalent bonds. Here the atoms or molecules are held by weak dispersion forces or London forces. They are soft and bad conductor of electricity. They have low melting points and usually in liquids or gases at room temperature. Coming to hydrogen bonded molecules, the solid containing molecules attached to each other with the hydrogen bonds are the hydrogen bonded molecular solids. The molecules of such solids contains polar bond, a polar covalent bond between hydrogen and oxygen or hydrogen and fluorine, hydrogen and nitrogen, etc. So due to this partial hydrogen in water molecules have partial positive charge and oxygen molecule will have partial negative charge. These attract each other forming hydrogen bond. Since hydrogen will have low electron density, possesses partial positive charge, oxygen with high electron density possesses partial negative charge. There will be a force of attraction. This force of attraction is called as hydrogen bond. This is strong hydrogen bond binds molecules of such solids like water, ammonia. They are non-conductor of electricity. They are volatile liquids or soft solids at standard temperature and pressure, that is at room temperature. Ionic solids. The solids which contain positively and negatively charged ions arranged in a regular fashion are the ionic solids. This ionic bond is formed because complete transfer of electron or complete acceptance of electron. Electron donor sodium will attain positive ion, will become positive ion, whereas electron acceptor chloride will become negative ions. Due to these charged particles, there will be an electrostatic force of attraction or Coulombic force of attraction. These kind of solids are called as ionic solids. Example, sodium chloride, aluminum chloride, etc. Metallic solids. The solids which contain positive ions known as kernels immersed in a sea of moving electrons are the metallic solids. It is observed in all metals as well as in some alloys. Here in metals, electrons are not fixed to a particular atom. It is continuously exchanging between different atoms. Therefore, these electrons is called as sea of electrons. The nucleus, which is positively charged ions, is called as kernels. So this kind of solids is called as metallic solids. Here the force of interaction is the metallic bond. The fourth type is covalent or network solids. The solid which contains the atoms linked to each other by continuous system of covalent bonds are known as covalent or network solids. Here the bonding will be because of sharing of electrons. There will be no complete transfer of electron, only sharing of electron. Hence it is the covalent bonded particles. So there is a continuous network of covalent bond which form a gained molecule. It will be three-dimensional structure. You can see this is a structure of diamond, this is a structure of graphite, this is silicon carbide, is nothing but carbonandum, this is structure of quartz. It will form a three-dimensional structure. When you are drawing a rangoli on dots, some patterns have been developed. These dots on which two-dimensional pattern has been developed on a set of points is called space lattice. Here the basic structural unit is called basis or motif. This is called motif. Say here there are two types of lattice. It is arranged exactly in straight lines, whether in vertically or horizontally. Here you can see in vertically you can see there will be, it is some of the lattice point is in between these four lattice points, right? So there are many possibilities of writing a lattice. So these are the two examples of lattice, lattice A and lattice B. How we are going to write rangoli, drawing a rangoli also you are going to mark the dots in different types. In crystal structure, motif is a molecular atom or ions. Space lattice or crystal lattice is the pattern of points representing the location of this motif. Spatial arrangement of lattice points gives rise to different types of lattice, lattice A, lattice B. In case of crystal solids, space lattice is a three-dimensional points, a three-dimensional array of points. The crystal structure is obtained by associating structural motifs with lattice points. Spatial orientation is repeated throughout the crystal except on the surface. Characteristics of crystal lattice. Each point in a lattice is called lattice point or lattice site. Each point in a crystal lattice represents one constituent particle, which may be atom, molecule or group of atoms or an ion. Lattice points are joined to a straight line to bring out the geometry of the lattice. We need only a small part of space lattice of a crystal to specify crystals completely. This small part is called unit cell. Unit cell is the smallest portion of the crystal which, when repeated in different directions, generate entire lattice. See, this colored portion is unit cell. This is extended backwards, down, left and right and back side. So you are going to get a entire lattice. If you consider a wall as a space lattice, the smallest unit of the wall is brick. In the same manner, a number of unit cells makes a space lattice. Brick and unit cell are similar to each other. This has to be your assumption for the clarity of the concept. Let us see the parameter of unit cell. In a unit cell, the vertices are A, B, C, D, E, F, G and H. The line joining these vertices are considered as edges. Edges AB, BC, AD, EF, FG, etc. are the vertices. The edges may be or may not be perpendicular to each other. In this unit, for your understanding, I am erasing one part. Now, You can notice the sides and angles of the other part. Let the dimension of AB be A and AD be B and AF be C. And let us see the angles between BAF as alpha and BAD as beta and FAD as gamma. These angles between x, y and z axis are alpha, beta and gamma. The main parameters of unit cell are dimensions A, B and C and angles alpha, beta, gamma. Totally 6 parameters. Unit cell are broadly classified into two types. They are primitive and central unit cells. In my next video, I will update the explanation of this. Thank you for watching my video.